Hey, this is Amy with Intuitive Coaching with Amy Radio, and this is your sacred space for spirituality, intuition, manifestation, and metaphysical wisdom. All right, so I've got a cool practice for you for today. I want you to get your journal. I want you to number 1 to 10 and actually number it first. It's a part of the process. Don't try to number and think out loud as you go. Just number. It just keeps your mind focused on doing the practice at the highest level. And here's the question. What does the wildly successful version of you think about all day? What are the phrases that that version of you is thinking? And if you really center in and you tune into yourself and you listen for that version of yourself, you're going to receive some beautiful insight, right? And it'll just take the stress and the burden off of your day to day because now you know how to think. And oftentimes we're moving through life and we're not directing our mind in a way in which creates what we want. And so this practice is beautiful because it does that for you. So again, what is that wildly successful version of you thinking about on a day-to-day, moment-by-moment basis? Number 1 to 10, and go within, get centered, and trust what comes up. Just write it down. And it's not going to be long. And it'll be a quick thought. Like, oh, yes, that's what successful me would think. So then when you're feeling low vibrational, when you're feeling down, or you're not feeling like you're moving towards your desire or your manifestation, you can sit down with this list and say, chances are I'm not thinking these things. And then immediately start to shift into it, start to embody the you that thinks these thoughts, and you will start to feel better. You'll start to see possibility. You'll start creating immediate results from this place. It's one of my favorite things that I've played with as of late, and I did 25. I'm just going to give you 10, but if you're feeling inspired, make a list 1 to 25 first, because what that does is as you're making the list and the thoughts are coming up, you're directing your attention there instead of like, thinking about it. It's coming from within your being, and it's something about numbering first and just filling them in that clicks you into receiving that information. And just trust me on that. I have seen people, I'll say number and then they don't. They're like stumbling through it. But if you really want to streamline that information flowing through you, how does the successful version of you think? And the more and more you start to think like that in your day to day, it's not necessarily these are affirmations. You could just pick one thought and just start to infuse it throughout your day. The more and more you think like that, the more and more you're pointing yourself towards the successful version of you and how that version of you would behave and act. Doesn't mean that everything shows up instantly. No, but there are so many blessings and magic that you're missing along the way that keeps you pointed. So even if things look like, oh, it's not going to come together, you will start to feel a deep sense of peace that some way, somehow, something's shifting and occurring so that you do receive what you want. So less efforting and keeping your mind pointed towards the version of you that you truly want to be. So I pray that was helpful. So again, number 1 through 10, I'm giving you 10. I did 25, and you'll find that you can come back to these thoughts, and anytime you're feeling bad, that's probably because you're thinking the opposite of one of these thoughts. Okay, cool. Oh, one more practice to go along with this. I would say after you make the list, give yourself a little pause, get up, move around, maybe do something else for a bit, and then come back. And I want you to put in your journal some check boxes, 10 check boxes And I want you to read the list through 10 times. So every time you read it through, you're going to check one of those boxes. And all of it's just to keep you centered and grounded in the practice. And this is how you can start to embed this way of thinking both in your conscious and subconscious mind. So again, the check boxes, you're going to read it 10 times and you'll check off a box. And I find it's best to do it all in one setting, not take a break. That's why I say go do something else and come back. It goes fast, right? They're not super long thoughts. And in the process, you already know them now. You'll start to automatically start to default into them. So when your mind wants to be like, oh no, that's a mess over there. Well, you've got a thought that supports, something along the lines of, let's see, if I was thinking something's a mess, let me look at mine. What thought would there be? It's all coming together. That's one of mine. It's all coming together. It's all coming together. I may not know how and when, but it's all coming together. So yes, that situation may look a little messy right now, but I just trust that it's all coming together and I'm going to show up and do my part because that's who I am. But it's all coming together. It's all coming together some way, somehow for my highest and greatest good. Cool. I pray that was helpful. It's a really cool practice. All right. So if you've been listening to my podcast for a while, you already value spirituality and intuition and manifestation and metaphysical wisdom, personal development, and you believe your life can be even more beautiful than it is today. You can psychically sense it. I know you can psychically sense it. And you're right. There is so much more available to you. However, you've probably reached the point where listening to inspired content is no longer enough to move the dial. Yeah, let's take a breath on that. You now need to actively apply these principles and practices to your life. That is how you start to receive what you want, is when you take all of this content and apply it. And that's where you and I come together. This month marks my 16th year anniversary of Intuitive Coaching with Amy Radio. I've been doing this show for 16 years. It's not very many people in this business who can say that, and I can. 16 years of Intuitive Coaching with Amy Radio. And for 16 years, in private practice, I've helped people bridge that gap between spiritual insight and real life results. My podcast offers you spiritual wisdom. It offers you reminders that keep you on track. And you know many of these principles. However, it can be difficult to apply this wisdom in your life in a consistent way that creates immediate forward momentum. So for 90 days, you and I will focus on what you want to create. You bring your dreams, your desires, your questions, your frustrations, your decisions, and your struggles. And in session, you and I will explore the spiritual and energetic pieces that you need so that you can move forward towards your right transformation. I am your spiritual ally. And I tune in psychically and I translate that guidance into real practical action to create real results. You hear this real? I love all this esoteric, spiritual woo-woo stuff, but one thing I do is I integrate it into my life and I teach you how to do the same while, living among the humans, right? We're still all in this together. And so how do you take this and make it an everyday part of your life? That's what we do together. So whether you desire greater income, financial freedom, a thriving business, a loving relationship, better health, to release weight, to complete a passion project or a creative project, or just to be your best self more of the time, I help you focus on your vision until your outer life reflects what you've been sensing is true for you all along. Enroll in the 3-month intuitive coaching package It is officially open for enrollment. Official enrollment. I talk about it all the time, but we are actually officially open for enrollment. I'm accepting 13 new clients. And yeah, we're in Mercury retrograde, but Mercury retrograde is a time to return to what you have been sensing for some time, but maybe you've been putting it off. So if you've been thinking about working with me, maybe you've been showing up on my website, looking at things. If you've been waiting for the right moment, this is it. So I invite you to commit to your big happy change, your big happy transformation. Invite you to commit to building something beautiful and magical in your life. My door is open. Welcome home. Go to intuitivecoachingwithamy.com. Under Work with Amy, you will find the 3-month intuitive coaching package. You can start today. Thank you again for listening to this show. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful day. Take care of yourself. Goodbye.